Good morning. Fasten your seatbelts because today we will go on to speak about narcissistic and psychopathic abuse. Yesterday I made a short video where we were speaking about the dopamine control, and before that video I made a big video where I wrapped up the whole combination of dopamine control, narrative control, and identity control via something wrapped up as the term coercive control, which is executed by a psychopath and can include triangulation via the use of covert narcissists. So no matter how you twist and turn it, the psychopath is always the dominant force. Is hidden, rather hidden. It is a background worker because the goal is hidden, right? The truth is hidden. And the psychopath is not about attention in the first place, just like a narcissist would be. So the narcissist is all about attention, therefore they're not as camouflaged and hidden. Also, the psychopath is high functioning and has very good impulse control. That's why they're more dangerous and can stay in the background, can conceal their goals better. Now, how does this work? How does narrative control work? Again, this is something rather attributed to a psychopath because narcissists rather confabulate. It means they tell weird stories that appear like they are basically lies, but they are not lies because the narcissist believes them as well. The narcissist confabulates. They make up stories out of nowhere, out of their delusional fantasy, and they make no sense, so they can easily be proved as wrong, while a psychopath is much more crafty. They mix facts and fiction, and they know exactly when they can weave in fiction. And what they also do is they are masters. I repeat it all over and over again because that's so profound. They are masters at generalizing, moralizing, and rationalizing their behavior. But but depending on which person they speak to and create a narrative to isolate a target or to create the narration that is aimed at undermining the credibility or sense of self or self-agency of the target. So depending on which relation of the target they micromanage via creating narration of what has happened or what is happening, it is different depending on the person. So each person gets a different narration, and this narration will be adjusted on the fly. So the psychopath is testing the reactions of the person. It's the person believing what they say. And if this is why the psychopath has this predatory stare and creates the uncanny valley effect in people. If you're aware of it, if you don't repress it, if you have no goodwill towards the psychopath, you will feel like the psychopath is scanning for your reflexes, for your reactions, and will adjust quickly when they feel that you sense there is something off or you don't believe it. In other words, this is why you feel like they have no spine, no real face, no real identity core. It is because they switch and there is no coherent identity in them. It's all depending on the situation, on your reactions. It's not about an authentic expression of their emotions and positions because they don't have that. They are goal driven and goals change. And depending on who you are, you will get a different narration, one that works with you. All right, let me get in here so I can talk freely. Um, so this is the way narrative control works, and you need to know that it is always the center of the narrative control is the goal of the psychopath, the current goal, and the psychopath is in a shared fantasy with his or her goal. This means the psychopath loves and is emotionally invested. Let me use a word that nobody knows what it means. Cathexis is from Greek. It means emotional investment. So the psychopath is cathected into his or her goals. It excites them when they come closer to them. It's their essence. Therefore, the narrative control is needed. What they need is a superficial facade. The psychopath is all about facade, to create a facade. Therefore, they are great organizers, micromanagers, narrators, and managers. They manage people, they use people. You know, the term human resources comes into a very new light when you see it through that lens, right? So you're an instrument or an obstacle. That's why the psychopath is interacting with you. They are in this moment in a shared fantasy with their goal, which obsesses them, which possesses them, which rewards them with adrenaline and dopamine. So yeah, we also had the dopamine control, right? That was what we're talking about, dopamine control. And the psychopath is always on the winning side if it's about dopamine, right? So they will make sure that they might breadcrumb you with small releases of dopamine. They might bait you with future fakes, with a shared fantasy that is only custom tailored for you. So the psychopath is not part of the shared fantasy they give to you. The shared fantasy they give to you, again, is a future fake, which is aimed to make you believe that there will be dopamine in the future for you if you just stay with the psychopath, but it is connected to their goal, all right? So it's truly connected to dopamine release for the psychopath, because the psychopath wants to get the goal. This will make her very excited, if you believe me, especially if they manage to use other people and at the same time bring these other people in a weaker position, because as I told you, the manipulation mechanism of the psychopath is like a psychotherapist. A psychotherapist, depending on the method they use, might carefully look for your blind spots, which are also your vulnerable spots. They will create a resistance in you. It means you get an aggressive reaction, actually. But because the very good psychotherapist is a maternal figure, a very established person with natural authority and very agreeable and such a nice person, it is absolutely unacceptable for you to direct your aggression towards the psychotherapist. Therefore, you put the aggression to yourself, which means you understand that there is a blind spot in you, that you have where you have a defense reaction, a primitive defense reaction, probably maybe a narcissistic defense reaction, and this is what can trigger you. But the therapist will help you to integrate that, to own that, to take responsibility for these vulnerabilities that you have. The psychopath will use this reaction to put salt into the wound, to put the finger in, to make you second guess yourself. So they push you over by leveraging their power and their goal-driven agenda, while you act as a human being and you think it's about finding a mutual compromise, a solution that is good for everybody. No, the psychopath is pushing through their selfish agenda, which is good for them and bad for you, make no mistake about it. And at the same time, they weaken your resistances against that using the same method as a psychotherapist will use your weaknesses, your unowned trauma, your shadow. Okay? So, but we were talking about narrative control, right? The narrative control is aimed to weaken your defenses and deconstruct your support network by, again, isolating you in plain sight without you realizing you're isolated, because all the people that you talk to, they don't even know that they are kind of flying monkeys of the psychopath. When you go to them, you will realize, maybe you tell them authentically from your heart the story about what you have experienced, what you think, what you want to do, and people will start to look at you like, what is this person telling me? And you know why? Because the psychopath has already manipulated them. And the psychopath is always first, is always dominant, needs to be the first person to try to occupy another person, all right, and competitively with you. So they must be the dominant person in this other person's life, even though they use you to deepen the bond to this person, because the psychopath can only have the superficial bond. Now, this is to isolate you and weaken you. Therefore, the psychopath has a more and more easy way to get to their goals, because they are more and more the only player in the field, right? All right. So it works through the micromanaging, goal-oriented, super organized way the psychopath is micromanaging relationships around you. And this goes into in all fields. They occupy your closest loved ones, but also other peer groups if possible, as well as even job relationships. And when it goes really down dirty, they might even snitch on you without you knowing, in an anonymous way, blackmail you, spread wrong rumors about you so that you lose chances, job chances and stuff like that. All right. So this is coercive control. Okay. And it is meant, it is because you are an instrument or an obstacle. When you're an obstacle, you will be weakened so far that you're not anymore in the way of the psychopath. When you're an instrument, you will be also weakened and made dependent of the psychopath, so that the psychopath can use you. Because when you're dependent of the psychopath, when you're weak, you become an instrument that they can control. For the psychopath, everything is about control. All right? So they will rather kill something, end something, stop something with a first strike mentality when they are in fear of losing control. Therefore, this is why they can't grow something naturally. This is why the infinite potential of an environment where you have patience, love, and trust, this is what creates things. And this is not accessible to them, because they will always destroy this environment, because they have to control it. It's like a person that every day pulls out a seed out of the soil and will look, oh, are the roots already there? How big is it? Do I control it? Is it really there? Is it living? And then put it back in the soil, and something like that will die. All right, and they also have to be in control of your services, okay? So if you have self-agency, if you have boundaries, that's not good. That's not good. You have to be broken down now, or you're about to be ghosted. You're about to be humiliated. You're about to be stonewalled. All right, and only when you reverse this in some way when the psychopath realizes that they are cornered completely, because they're like snakes. But when they are cornered and they have no other opportunity but treat you like an equal person with equal rights and importance, this only is possible by force, by by some form of unevitable proof, law enforcement, involvement of other people in authority. It will never happen out of something like equal, out of, I don't know, out of some human reason. Never. All right. That being said, stay safe out there and see you in the next video.